Okay, hi all. My name is Alex Hubbard, and I will be presenting to you my presentation for cognitive psychology over synesthesia. What is synesthesia? Synesthesia is the condition in which information from one sensory modality, such as auditory, which would be your hearing, is coded in another modality, such as visual, which would be your seeing. As an example of what synesthesia is like, I included this picture down here in the bottom of the slide. It says, "Can you hear the colors?" A person who has synesthesia would be able to look at the color red and possibly hear a sound accompanied with it. So every time they see the color red, they would also associate the certain sound with it as well. So that's kind of just an example of what it's like for a person who does have synesthesia. Here on this next slide, I have included some facts, just in general about synesthesia that I found interesting while doing research over it. About 1 in 2,000 people have synesthesia. Another thing is that synesthesia is rule-governed, which means it is not random. An example is that a person who has synesthesia will tell you that every time they see the color red, they hear this specific pitch of a sound with it. So years after you ask them this question, if you come back and show them the color red and you say, "So what sound do you hear with it now?" they'll tell you the exact same sound that I heard several years ago when you asked me, because it's not a made-up thing. It's like a rule-governed thing that they always hear or see the same thing associated with whatever object it is. Also, synesthesia comes in different varieties, so not everybody sees colors when they hear a word, is basically what that means. But the most common form is colored hearing. So when someone hears something, they associate colors with it, is kind of what is most common when a person tells you that they have synesthesia. So again, I've included a little bit more to exaggerate on that, some examples of different types of synesthesia that people have come to be found to have. First one is grapheme color synesthesia. This is when people associate letters and numbers with color. So that's kind of one of the big ones that people have in association with synesthesia. Next, sound to color synesthesia, when sound triggers visualization of colors in generic shapes. Basically means that when a person hears a certain sound, they'll also see colors that are in certain shapes. So it's kind of like a dual thing. It's not just the sound and the visual, but they also see like a shape with it. So there's that. Number form synesthesia is another one, and this is when a person hears numbers or, sees them or are talking about numbers in general, I guess, that they see a mental map come up of the numbers. So they don't just see the one number, it's like a map of the numbers. So there's that. Also, personification, which I found to be very interesting because it's one that I never even thought would exist when it comes to synesthesia. But this is where people associate ordered sequences with various personalities. So if a person saw the letter A, they could say, well, that A has a rude personality. Just because of the way they see it, it looks like it has a mean personality to it or a rude personality, depending upon what letter it is. So they could do that all the way through the alphabet in the sequence of every letter has a certain personality. So C could be a nice personality, and so on, as far as that goes. And last, I included lexical gustatory synesthesia. And this one is a very rare thing. Like, not a lot of people with synesthesia say that they have this type. But this is where it evoked is different kinds of taste when certain words are heard. So example of that, when someone hears, I don't know, the word different, they might taste caramel from a caramel apple, or I don't know, something along those lines. But something cool about this is that when a person does taste something when they hear a certain word, it's only taste that they have before tasted in real life. So if a person has never tasted, for example, a caramel apple, then they will never experience that taste when they hear a certain word. So that's interesting. So on this next slide, I kind of wanted to talk about what causes synesthesia. And so despite all of the new advances in all our technology with scanning of brains and all that good stuff, researchers have not found any clear causes for it. There are a lot of theories. One of the main ones is neurological causes that are associated with synesthesia, and a lot of researchers come to the conclusion that it is somewhat hereditary while doing studies on it. So that's also another interesting thing about it. And here on this slide, I just kind of went more in depth about when people go into the theory of the neurological side. They say that people with synesthesia can experience what is called crosstalk. And this is where different regions of the brain that are specialized in different functions crosstalk or intertwine with each other that result in certain types of synesthesia. So the reason why people don't say this is the main cause is because not all types of synesthesia correlate with this theory. It's only certain ones that would make sense that these parts of the brain talking to each other would equal out to people hearing colors or tasting words and such. So that's an interesting thing right there. So I included this picture down at the bottom that kind of shows the different areas of the brain that have to do with your five senses and where they can be located, and how crosstalk is basically when those different sections of the brain come together to create a synesthetic feel for people. So that's my presentation. I hope you all enjoyed it and learned something new. I'm looking forward to getting questions from you all and hopefully being able to answer those with some good responses. So I've included at the end the sources that I used. If you're interested in going and looking at those and kind of reading through them, they have a lot of stuff in them that correlates to this topic. It was very interesting to go through and see all the researchers and their theories and such on this. So again, I hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to seeing all your response. So thank you.